Hola, bienvenidos a Ticket to Life. And if this is your first time listening to Ticket to Life, welcome, welcome, and welcome. I'm so thrilled that you are here. And Ticket to Life is about anything and everything in life. And yes, I talk 90 to nothing, but I will slow down. Because life is just always a whirlwind sometimes. Um, Today, we were going to chat about a lifeline in life. Where do I come up with these titles? I bet you wonder. I wonder myself sometimes, but a lot of times I'll tell you, I get these titles from that just pop into my brain, and that could be dangerous, as some of you know who have listened to Ticket to Life before. Or I read an article about a topic, or just look up a specific word, and then my mind just goes, that sounds like a podcast. So, excuse me, I'm moving my mic around. Although, when someone asks me to do a podcast about something, I try to always relate to the information that they're looking for, um, and I try to give you the facts. But by the way, do you have a story to share? Because I believe we all have a short story. We all have a story in our life. Some you want to share and some you don't. If you do, and you would like to share with the world, or do you think you would like for me to talk about something special? I wonder what her thoughts are on this. If so, drop me an email at tickettolife022@gmail.com, or on the description of the podcast on the platforms that you listen to, it says send us a text, and you will remain anonymous unless you would like your name on the radio, because I am on the radio on Thursdays at WDJY 99.1 FM in Metro Atlanta, Georgia. And I have a new podcast come out every Tuesday. I've changed the date, but that podcast that you hear on Tuesdays on platforms, you will hear on WDJY. So if you miss it on one, you can go get it on the other, or you can just go to the Ticket to Life um, website and just listen to all 171 podcasts if you have nothing else to do with your life, because I have plenty to say about anything and everything. So I myself would only recommend, if you do want me to share a story, I will just read verbatim whatever you send, or if you want to call, we can do a Zoom. Or the other thing is, I just would recommend you just use a first name on anything, or a nickname, because this literally is heard throughout the world. I just Last week I was surprised to hear someone in Russia heard my "I am such a hypocrite," and I was wondering, why did they hear that? I hope it helped them, whoever listened. But I have had other downloads from Russia, so thank you from Russia who's listening. Uh, we're praying for peace here. But anyway, okay, enough of that. I would like to tell you that I will say this in every podcast. I probably, when I first started, I'm on starting my fourth year. I didn't used to say a disclaimer, but it's written on the description. So I thought, for safety reasons, for Ticket to Life, I just need everyone to know my disclaimer is that Ticket to Life are only my opinions, and I am in no way or no how a doctor, a life coach, a therapist, or a love guru. I am Henrie, and I am happy for who I am, as you should be for who you are. Um, so, do you have a lifeline? Is there something you use, or someone that you use, and you call them your lifeline? You know, the 3 a.m. friend. Uh, I have several 3 a.m. friends. Um, and that's when you need something, anything. And that person you can call at any time. And I like to call them 3 a.m. friends. Now, a person did make me a shirt that says 3 a.m. friend on it, and I wear that proudly because I am their 3 a.m. friend. Now, a person who, this is to me, is a person you can call your lifeline. Is usually it is someone strong and reliable, And during difficult times, you know that you can depend on that person, or perhaps you are that person. And if you are that person, then you are definitely someone special, and I want to meet you. Don't stalk me or anything, just text me. So many will tell you that when something is going on in your life, they might call you and say, hey, if you need anything, or they'll text you, or they'll do something on social media, if you need anything. Because I am guilty of this, but I mean it. If someone's going through something and they need something, I will let them know. If you need anything, please let me know. How many of you have done that? And if you need anything, and when you do need something and you call them, they don't answer, they don't reply to your text. And if that is the case, time to look for another person to become your lifeline in time of crisis. Or by the time they contact you, they might apologize, say, oh, I didn't see that you called. You didn't leave me a voice message. That, in my opinion, is finding excuses instead of being honest and saying, I didn't really want to help you. I thought I was just supposed to say that literally. I didn't want to help you. Now, some people just, will say that. So let's be glad that you didn't need to ask them for a kidney or something like that. And I'm just kidding on that. But seriously, there are certain people you and I both know that you can depend on. Of course, you can always hopefully depend on your parents. But so again, well, of course, my parents are deceased, but I still talk to them. So anyway, um, again, time to look for another 3 a.m. friend, because sometimes people they can be friends, they can be good friends, but they're just not that reliable. Like, oh, it's 3 a.m. Do you know what time? It's 3 in the morning. What do you need? Well, apparently I don't need you to be my 3 a.m. friend, but I actually have a shirt, like I said, and you know what? I will take a picture of my shirt and I will post it on my Instagram account, because I'm sure you're all dying to see my shirt. Anyway, I do have to admit that I tell my husband that his lifeline is his iPad. There used to be a commercial about American Express, never leave home without it. That's my husband, just about, not all the time, but I'm not sure if that iPad can help him in the time of crisis, but who knows? With all that technology can do, right? You just never know. So, Lifeline is a support when you need it. I want to share a story about some guys and how they were close until something happens and one turns away. And in life, as we all know, sometimes we take people for granted, thinking that they will always be there, until the fact is you only use or call them when you need them or you want something. No es bueno. It's not good to do this. That is what we definitely call taking advantage of someone. Have you ever taken advantage of someone? Or has someone taken advantage of you? Taking advantage of someone's good nature, it's not good. It's not nice. This is usually someone who uses you is called an exploiter, or we can call them a sponge or a parasite or a bloodsucker. Oh, this list could go on. I could do the whole podcast on a list of names of people who take other people advantage of them. But I have met these types of people in my life. I have met people like this. They are just take advantage. They take advantage of people's kindness. But at one point in your life, you will have to say no more. Now, I do have a podcast, Learn to Say No, episode 62. Only because it's hard to say no, but as you get older, you will know, guess what? I can say no. If you have someone taking advantage of you, you've got to learn to just say no. Do you owe them an explanation? No. You just don't, as adults. No. You can say, no, I can't. But why can't you? Look, I just can't. That's all I can give you. I mean, honestly, it's hard to do that, and you have to learn. It took me a while to say no, learn to say no. It is hard. But when you are feeling down and out because someone is taking advantage of you or making you feel this way, yucky, time to say no. No more. I'm done. and move on. I know it sounds so much easier. Well, okay, as usual, I went off on another topic, back to my story. Now, there was this guy, and of course, all names in my stories have been changed to protect the innocent. The innocent. And we're going to call this, we're going to use him, we'll call him JC. And he had his friend, and we're going to call him Pierre. And those are good names, JC and Pierre. JC was very popular, and he had many, many friends. And and Pierre and JC used to do all sorts of stuff together. They were just good friends, and they used to travel. They were traveling together a lot for work, and it was great. Now, some days they would go off on their own and just shoot the breeze. And I think that's what they say, shoot the breeze about life and how the world was a lost place and how they could help change it. But they had a plan, and that was to continue doing what they did. But yet they knew how strong their friendship was. But JC, that he had best, he was the best of friends, and he could not turn his back on anyone. Although Pierre knew that JC would do anything for him, and he did know this. He was his 3 a.m. friend, and Pierre knew that he could, get in contact with JC anytime. So JC did tell him one time, hey, someday I have this gut feeling that you're not going to be able to back me up on something. And Pierre got all ticked off and said, you can't say that. I will always be there for you, even in the toughest times. Well, as far as things go, as we all know, not everything is perfect in the world. Friendship is usually may have or get a glitch in the relationships. And I've said in many past podcasts, relationships of any times take a lot of work. It doesn't matter what type of, it would be a work relationship, a romantic relationship, a friendship relationship. That takes a lot of work. So JC got into some trouble with telling people certain things about political and religious structures. And he hung out with some people that some people said, oh, they're a little bit below my standards of life. And their life was different, and some were a little shady. And as we all know, you cannot talk about political and religious topics in life without someone getting bent out of shape, right? Of course, some felt threatened by him, by JC, that is, and what he had to say and what he was saying and his thoughts. I think that some thought something big would take place, like JC was going to take over the world or something like that. Well, he got arrested for treason against the government. But before they arrested him, Pierre was asked 3 different times, 3 different places where someone saw him and said, hey, that's one of JC's sidekicks. But Pierre's response was, I don't know him. Hello? JC knew this was going to happen. According to what I have read, Pierre felt really, really bad and couldn't believe he denied his 3 a.m. friend. Now, JC knew Pierre would deny him. So, folks, always trust your gut feelings. When you tell someone, I have a gut feeling something's going to happen between us, always trust your gut. And as you may know by now, JC is Jesus Christ and Pierre is Peter. Jesus' execution was death on the cross, and he died for our sins. Now, the good thing that I hope most of us know is that even though he rose again from the dead 3 days later, as he knew he would, it was an amazing thing for all of us. Lifeline of life is Jesus. And in Psalms 55:17, it says, evening and morning and at noon I will pray and cry out loud, and he shall hear my voice. That makes sense, right? Because Jesus is your lifeline. Just know that he knows your name And you are never alone in any situation in life. He knows your name. That to me, knowing He knows my name, warms my heart. He knows who I am, and He knows who you are too, and He knows your struggles. So, I guess in a way, they may have thought that Jesus was some sort of scammer and trying to make people believe that He was the Son of God, even though He is. So, truth is sometimes really hard to accept. It just is. I don't know why it is so hard for so many people to accept the truth on certain things. I'm not sure. And of course, I know there's non believers out there, and that's fine. That's your life, and that's okay. But I just wanted to share this with you. It's an amazing feeling to have God into your life. It is amazing. But when I mentioned scammers, I do have to tell you, speaking of scammers, although Jesus was not a scammer, I was scammed. It happened to me. And not a love scam like my friend had been, but by something that I saw on Facebook. It was a yoga plan. And I thought I would give it a try. I thought, oh, why not? It's a good deal. It'll be fun to watch, right? Well, now this is for all of you to really hear this and to take note of scammers. That they're out there, and that is their life, scamming people and stealing their money. So anyway, I saw this thing on, it was a yoga plan, and I thought I would try it. Well, when I put my credit card number in, it was declined. So, of course, I tried it again. And again, it was declined. So I tried it 2 times. So I thought, oh, well, you know what? It's not going through. It's not meant to be. So within 5 minutes, I received a text from Barclays, the credit card company, with a fraud alert. I'm like, whoa, 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 what? Yes, they ran my card 11 times. But luckily, Barclays was on top of it, and they were trying to get into my account. And luckily, they locked it immediately. No, they didn't get any money, and luckily the credit card was on alert, and I called the company, and it was a simple, and they stopped any transactions trying to be made. I'm always talking about scams. That was the crazy thing. I mentioned scams and totally there are a total of 3 podcasts. 3. And I remember just reading something about it. So I thought, oh my gosh, Henrie, what were you thinking? So I mentioned again 3 scams. I have 2 episodes on love scams that a friend of mine went through, and it was an episode 91 and 92 in case you're interested. And please be careful with those dating apps. That's where she got scammed. Luckily, she was smart enough and did not send money. And then the scam alert episode of 112. So I think I really need to go back and listen to the scam alert one that I did. I hated that this happened to me. And it was crazy because I just read an article how cards are being declined online for online purchases. Uh, so it's a live and learn kind of thing. But again, if you put a credit card on there and it says it's declined, don't put it in there again. Just get a hold of your company, where your credit card is, because there are scammers out there and they will take full advantage of you. You become the victim. I do live and learn, and also there's a really good movie called The Beekeeper, and I think I mentioned it in one of the podcasts, probably the scam alert one. But anyway, it is called The Beekeeper with Jason Statham. It's a really good movie, and it's regarding scumbags and that cheat people. So be alert. Scammers are everywhere. And please, 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 please be sure to talk to your parents, and if you have any elderly friends that aren't sure about that. I had another friend who the grandfather sent money because he thought it was his grandson and he was in jail. So make sure you are aware, because apparently I thought I was aware because I thought it was legit being on Facebook. Hello, just like Facebook news. Hello, Henrie, wake up. So anyway, I'm just telling you, this is Henrie's alert. Well, anyway, and one more reminder before it's too late, that Mother's Day is on Sunday the 11th, 2025. In case you hear this podcast in 2030, I don't want you to freak out because May 12th in 2030 will be Mother's Day. Now, I know I've really confused you. Anyway, this in 2025, it is Sunday the 11th, so it's almost here. And again, it's Mother's Day. Now, I really want everyone to remember, if you can, maybe Mother's Day should be every day for moms. If you have that mom that has been by your side, always making sure that you know that you are there, or that she is there for you and you are there for her, hopefully. Um, and let her know how great of a mom she is. Please be sure to let her know. And if you live out of the country or a state or somewhere, it will take you a matter of minutes to let her know how special she is. At one point, moms may not feel needed by their kids, and I mean adult kids, but inside, and teenagers, but inside, I know that I will always feel needed. If not by my kids, by my grandkids. And it's just so important to let them know how great a mom they are. And look, if you're listening to this, you must be a great person. And thank them for making you so great. But it's those moms that helped you through life and getting through school, or wiped tears away when you weren't invited to a birthday party, or helping you with dealing with a bully or a breakup, or helped you through rehab for drugs or alcohol. Knowing that your mom knew how to make you feel better when you were sick. And yes, mom's jobs are never ending, yet so rewarding. I love being a mom. I love being a grandmother. It is the absolute best. And I am so thankful for my wonderful kids and my wonderful grandkids. God has truly blessed me. Now, I always hate to mention some of you weren't fortunate to have that kind of mom. And I could just leave on a happy note and happy thoughts for moms, but that is not what some of you may have had in life. But I want you to know that you are worth loving. And I wish you much happiness that you are deserving of. I mean that with all my heart. Because I know some people that did not have good relationships with their moms. And if you are a mom who went through that kind of relationship, I'm wishing you a happy Mother's Day. And I hope that you have turned the tables around for what you went through as a child. It's always easier to talk about the happy things in life. It just is. And more than likely, you will get people to hear that. You will get people to hear the happy stuff. But a lot of people like the tragic stuff too, which is unfortunate. But if we could all just learn to be kind and be good to one another, oh my gosh, this world would be such a better place. And I know some people think, oh, she lives in Rainbow Land with unicorns and sparkles. Now, that would really be great, and that'd be a lot of fun. But it is reality. Some of us were not fortunate enough to have a wonderful mom. And I was. And I had a great mother-in-law. And sometimes we don't have the best mother-in-laws. But I have been very blessed to have both. And anyway, I hate to say this because this is the hardest part, and all good things must come to an end. I know, get off the stage. But anyway, I just want to remind you that you can hear Ticket to Life on your favorite podcast platform. You can hear it on YouTube, the audios. You can hear it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple. And I've changed my dates. It was released every Thursday, but I have changed it to Tuesdays. So now, again, I think I mentioned it earlier. Tuesdays it's released a new podcast, but you can also hear it honestly 24/7 if you don't have anything else to do and would love to hear my lovely voice and my lovely opinions. But again, don't forget you can hear it on any podcast platform on Thursday mornings. But on Thursday mornings, this is ta-da, the good thing is if you are in Metro Atlanta, Georgia, at 7 a.m. Eastern on WDJY 99.1 FM, Metro Atlanta. Like I said, you can hear me every Thursday from 7 to 8. And what they do is I will have the first 30 minutes is the new podcast. And if you missed the week before, you can hear last week's podcast. So they have everything in control there. They're really good about keeping it organized. But again, I cannot thank you enough for allowing me to spend time with you today. Our time is valuable because we're in such a busy, busy world and a busy, busy place. But just remember your lifeline. We all have one. God is our lifeline. Jesus Christ, I mean, gosh, He's there all the time. He's there to listen to your prayer. And sometimes when you don't feel your prayers are being answered, they're not going to be answered within seconds, or maybe they will. It could take a while. And sometimes those prayers that are not answered, you find out why they aren't answered later on because there was a better thing waiting for you. It's about patience in life, as we all know. I again, thank you so much for spending time with me and allowing me to spend time with you. So I like to always say, please go find your blessings and I will be praying for you. And until next week, I can't wait to see you again. And another, really brief thing. Don't forget Mother's Day. It's so important. And then I'll start hitting you up for June for Father's Day because then Father's Day is coming in June. And then guess what? I'll leave you all alone about holidays. But anyway, this is Henrie. Thank you so much for listening. And until next week, go find your blessings.